Did you know that it's not possible to get pregnant every day of your menstrual cycle? There are only 6 days within each cycle where pregnancy is possible. Today, we're diving into how to boost your chances of getting pregnant naturally by timing sexual intercourse accurately. By the end of this video, you'll know when to have sex if you're trying to get pregnant, how often to have sex, and if sexual positions matter, and if after sex positions increase your chances of conception, and I'll take away the confusion around lubricants. Stay tuned to learn about the lubricants that can harm sperm, learn about fertility-friendly lubricants and the difference between vaginal-friendly lubricants. When should you have sex during your menstrual cycle to get pregnant? You might be surprised to learn that you are only fertile for 6 days in each menstrual cycle. These 6 days are known as your fertile window, and these are the prime time to be having sexual intercourse to increase your chances of getting pregnant. So, what exactly is your fertile window? Your fertile window starts 5 days before you ovulate and includes the day of ovulation. And timing sexual intercourse is so crucial because after the egg ovulates, it only survives for around 12 to 24 hours. Sperm, however, can survive for up to 5 days within your reproductive tract, hanging around and waiting for that time of ovulation. So the best time to have sex is during this 6-day window, which is 5 days before you ovulate and includes the day of ovulation. So how to find your fertile window? The calendar method is a common way to estimate your fertile window, much like the fertility apps use. This method is most reliable if you have a regular and predictable menstrual cycle length because it doesn't rely on tracking your individual fertility signs. Instead, it's based on knowing the length of your menstrual cycle and having a basic understanding of the menstrual cycle phases. Your menstrual cycle length is measured from day 1 of your period, which is day 1 of full flow, not spotting, and it lasts until the day before your next period. And if your periods are regular, your menstrual cycle length should be fairly consistent within a day or 2 of each other. For instance, if your average menstrual cycle length is 30 days, it should be around 30 days each time, give or take a day or 2. The menstrual cycle has 2 phases. The follicular phase, which goes from day 1 of full flow until ovulation, and the luteal phase starts after ovulation until your next period. During the follicular phase, your eggs mature until one is released at ovulation. The luteal phase follows, and here the corpus luteum produces progesterone, which will support implantation and early embryo development if fertilization occurs. And the luteal phase typically lasts around 14 days. So using the calendar method, you subtract the 14 days of the luteal phase from your average menstrual cycle length to get your estimated ovulation day. For example, in a 30-day cycle, you would minus 14 days for the luteal phase, which would give you an estimated ovulation day of day 16. Your fertile window then, which is the time that you need to have sex in order to increase your chances of conception, would be 5 days before that estimated ovulation day, which is from day 11 to day 16. When using the calendar method to estimate ovulation, it's really important to note that this method and your fertility apps are giving you an estimate only. Ovulation can sometimes happen earlier or later, and the luteal phase is not always 14 days. That too can be shorter or longer, which will throw off your estimated ovulation day. Additionally, if your cycle length varies, relying solely on these calculations and fertility apps can cause you to miss your fertile window altogether, and then of course miss the opportunity to conceive that menstrual cycle. So how do you identify your fertile window, and how do you know when you're ovulating so you can time sexual intercourse to get pregnant faster? There are 2 main ways to predict ovulation, which is based on your individual fertility signs. 1 is tracking your cervical mucus, and 2 is using ovulation tests, which are also known as ovulation predictor kits or OPKs. Cervical mucus tracking is the first sign used to identify your fertile window. During the follicular phase of your menstrual cycle, the ovaries here produce high levels of estrogen. This hormone not only thickens the uterine lining, which prepares it for a potential pregnancy, but it also is responsible for producing the cervical mucus from the cervix. And this cervical mucus is what allows the sperm to survive inside your reproductive tract for up to 5 days. When estrogen levels peak, the cervical mucus changes in consistency and becomes super fertile and has a raw egg white-like consistency. These changes indicate that you are in your fertile window and ovulation is getting closer. And for everything you need to know about cervical mucus, please check out my previous video, Get Pregnant and Predict Ovulation with the 4 types of cervical fluid. Using ovulation tests, or OPKs, is the second sign used to identify your fertile window. Another way to predict that ovulation is approaching is by using these ovulation predictor kits, in short, they're OPKs, or they can also be known as the LH test strips. Once estrogen reaches its peak level in the blood, this signals back to the brain to release the luteinizing hormone, which is also called LH. And LH is what causes ovulation, or the egg to be released out of the ovary. So the luteinizing hormone is usually released a day or 2 before ovulation occurs. So a positive ovulation test means that you are likely to ovulate within a day or 2. For detailed information on how to use these tests accurately, please check out my previous video, Get Pregnant Naturally Using Ovulation Tests, and this will be linked in the cards and the description box below. Confirming ovulation by tracking your basal body temperature. To confirm ovulation, you can track your basal body temperature, which is also known as your BBT. By using a basal body thermometer, you can check your resting temperature every morning. By doing this, you will observe a slight increase in temperature, which is caused by progesterone, which can only be produced after ovulation. A sustained rise in temperature after 3 consecutive days does in fact confirm that you have ovulated. It's a lovely reminder of just how amazing our bodies are. And for more information, I have a previous video which is called Confirm Ovulation by Tracking Your Basal Body Temperature, and I'll link that also in the cards and the description box below. By combining an understanding of your menstrual cycle length with these 3 fertility signs, cervical mucus, ovulation tests, and tracking your basal body temperature, you can accurately pinpoint your individual fertile window and your ovulation day. To master this process and gain deeper insights, I invite you to join my Master Your Menstrual Cycle for Conception course, where you'll learn how to pinpoint your individual fertile days and time sexual intercourse to increase your chances of pregnancy. Remember, every woman's body is unique, so understanding your own cycle is essential for optimizing your fertility. Which days in your menstrual cycle should you have sex for best chances of getting pregnant? A particular study using self-reported fertility data was designed to help determine optimal days for conception. This particular study showed 3 days before ovulation gave you a 27% chance of conception. 2 days before ovulation gave you a 33% chance of conception. And the day before ovulation gave you a 41% chance of conception. On the day of ovulation, you have a 20% chance. And the day after ovulation, there is an 8% chance of conceiving. So according to this study, 1 to 2 days before ovulation are the best days for you to time sexual intercourse for the best chances of achieving a pregnancy. And how often should you be having sex to increase your chances of conception? The simple answer is, having sex often during your fertile window will increase your chances of conceiving. But of course, remember, balance is key. Sex can become stressful if it feels like a chore, and this is especially true for couples who have been trying to conceive for a while. And of course, frequency of sex is individual from couple to couple. If you are the couple that has sex daily, continue with that. And if you are the couple that doesn't have sex regularly, you should focus on timing intercourse around your fertile window and around ovulation day. Once you see fertile cervical mucus or you get a positive ovulation test, have intercourse every other day or even increase sex to daily until you confirm ovulation for best chances of conceiving. If your partner, however, has a low sperm count, it is recommended that you have sex every other day so you can replenish the sperm count in time for the next intercourse. This makes sure that sperm counts have restored to increase chances of fertilization. And as a minimum, aim to have sexual intercourse 2 to 3 times during your fertile window so you don't miss ovulation. It is also important for the male to ejaculate at least every 3 days to avoid heat stress and oxidative damage to the sperm. During your trying to conceive journey, even when your fertile window is over, I highly recommend you going back to having sex for fun and as a way to share intimacy in your relationship. It is also not recommended for the male to abstain for sex for too long. Although the sperm count will improve, the quality of the DNA starts to degrade and will decrease your chances of conception. So make some special time for each other during your non-fertile times, which is beneficial for your relationship and for the quality of the sperm. Do sexual positions matter when trying to conceive? I truly wish I could give you some scientific facts around fun positions that will increase your chances of pregnancy. But unfortunately, there is no evidence that any particular sexual position increases your chances of conceiving. Basically, any sexual position is ideal as long as the sperm is ejaculated into the vagina. Can after sex positions increase chances of conception? Putting your legs up after sex or lying down after sex might sound helpful, but there's no proof that this increases your chances of conception. Sperm are pretty quick. They're on their way through your cervix within a matter of seconds. Does having an orgasm increase your chances of conception? Well, male orgasm is absolutely necessary as ejaculation and male orgasm usually happen together. Although female orgasm can assist with the movement of the sperm and helping it get to where it needs to be, it isn't really required for getting the sperm into the female reproductive tract. However, female orgasm is recommended for additional fun and of course pleasure. Will using lubricants help or harm fertilization? When considering whether to use lubricants while trying to conceive, it's crucial to think about both their effects on fertility and vaginal health. Many people overlook this, but some lubricants can harm sperm by decreasing their motility and their function, making fertilization more difficult. Ideally, if you don't need to use lubricants, it's best to avoid them altogether. The best lubricant to use while you are trying to conceive is your body's own. The most sperm-friendly lubricant is your body's own cervical mucus, which your body naturally produces during your fertile window. The cervical mucus nourishes the sperm and helps it survive for up to 5 days, making it ideal for conception. During this time, your body usually produces enough lubrication, so you're less likely to need additional lube. What if you need extra lubrication when trying to conceive? If you're not producing enough cervical mucus, it could indicate a hormonal imbalance. Rather than immediately turning to store-bought lubricants, it might be beneficial to focus on improving your hormonal health. Improving hormone production can naturally help to improve cervical mucus production, which of course is better for both fertility and vaginal health. If you do need additional lubrication, your body's own arousal fluid is the next best option. Though it might take more time and more foreplay, it will enhance intimacy and connection, which can be a very important part of this conception process. Lubricants when trying to conceive and considering vaginal health. Surprisingly, some substances that are commonly considered safe, such as saliva or olive oil, can actually negatively impact sperm motility. Saliva, for example, can reduce sperm movement, while olive oil has also been shown to harm sperm motility. Additionally, many commercial lubricants are not friendly for the vaginal environment. Many of these products can disrupt the delicate balance of your vaginal flora. So how do you choose the right lubricant when trying to conceive? If you decide to use a lubricant when trying to conceive, it's essential to choose one that is as natural and organic as possible. Fertility-specific lubricants are formulated with a higher pH, making them more alkaline to match the semen. This pH balance can support sperm survival and is recommended to use during your fertile window while trying to conceive. However, outside of your fertile window, your vagina's natural acidity plays a crucial role in maintaining vaginal health by protecting against infections. Using fertility-friendly lubricants throughout your entire menstrual cycle can absolutely disrupt this balance, leading to issues like vaginal infections such as thrush or bacterial vaginosis, which absolutely changes cervical mucus production. Therefore, when you're not in your fertile window, opt for lubricants that are pH matched to your vaginal environment. Of course, making sure that they are as natural and organic as possible. Can you use coconut oil as a lubricant while trying to conceive? For some people, using organic coconut oil as a lubricant when trying to conceive can be a good option. It has natural lubricant qualities and it doesn't have a pH factor since it is an oil. However, individual reactions vary widely. I've seen coconut oil soothe some vaginal irritations for some women, but I've also seen an exacerbation of symptoms for some women, which have increased their discomfort. So if you have personally found coconut oil to work for you and not cause irritations, it is absolutely safe to use while trying to conceive. To increase your chances of conceiving each menstrual cycle, the key is to time sexual intercourse during your fertile window. For more detailed information, check out my playlist, Get Pregnant Fast.